watch your head, heart, soul. Watch your head and heart and soul. Watch your head, heart, soul. Watch your head and heart and soul. Watch your head and heart and soul. Watch your head, watch your heart, watch your soul. Cause I watch the clock talk and tic-tac your toes. Comment up on my friends and to expose your foes. Frenemies, enemies, both is identical. Whoa, like beat with wolves and sheep clothes. Bros, but snatch these
women and they're like, he won't latch on. And I'm like, well, you ain't trying to.
And I had a problem too because I had flat nipples, so it was a problem, you know. So she, my midwife was like, well, we gonna get this. We gonna come up with some concoction, and she got a little syringe thingy and cut it, and it was like pulling my nipple off. But she was like, you know, my baby lost a lot of weight, but I wanted to nurse her, you know.
But most of the time, they don't give you a very long, like, my cousin recently had a baby, and with, like, after maybe a day, they're like, he doesn't latch on, so, like, and me, you know, I'm like the natural girl, so I'm like, you know, like, every time the nurse or doctor came into the room, what is that, what are you doing, like, I think sometimes they take advantage of the fact that women are feeling vulnerable, and they're just like, oh, you know, you're kind of at a loss, or you know what I mean, and you just, everything the doctor says is okay, but I like y'all was saying, to piggyback on that, having that support, having somebody to say, wait a minute, give it a second. Like you say, it took 2 weeks to latch on. After a day, they were like, too bad, so sad, and you just have to give them a bottle. I'm like, no, you know, giving her the breast pump and maybe feeding the baby that, like, you know, just straight Similac, like there's nothing in between.
If you're not in the position to have your child at home or in a birthing center for whatever reason, you must have an advocate if you go into a hospital setting. It is an absolute necessity. After witnessing a number of hospital births, do not think you're going to go into a hospital setting. I don't care what they say on the tour. I don't care how many tubs they got. I literally went into a birth and the nurse thought I said tub and freaked out. And I'm like, but you got one, you know? So you do need to have an advocate. And I was a doula before I knew what a professional doula was. You don't have to have a professional doula if you can support a sister that's doing that. That's a beautiful thing. I actually can do this work for free, honestly, but you were her doula, and it's important to have that advocacy. Some people just don't have, maybe because of their diet or because of whatever happened in the past, they just don't have the capacity to have a natural birth. Maybe they truly are an at-risk pregnancy. Maybe their baby wouldn't latch on. Maybe they really did have to be rushed into a C-section. I think when we're having these discussions, we need to make sure that we're stepping out of judgment. Though we want our sisters to be empowered, and we want to say, you can do this, come on. We don't want to judge her. We don't want her to feel like she's less than because she wasn't able to have the type of birth that we feel like she can have. So we have to support her because
that baby comes out.
That's right. Healthy.
Go home.
And you knew your options, and you were educated, and you were aware, and you made the decisions that you wanted to make for you and your baby.
I think that's so important because I had a cousin as well who wasn't able to nurse. And I think my approach to her at first was a little bit judgmental, like there's something that you could have done to nurse this child, and she had to like private message me and say, look, little girl, I tried, you don't know what complications I had, you don't understand what was going on with my body, and I could not nurse my child. Now I'm wondering though, if you can't nurse your child, are there other options to the formula?
Absolutely. First, I mean, I've worked with moms that could not initially nurse, maybe because baby was in NICU. It was just a proximity challenge. You can pump, you know, because the important thing is that you want your baby to have that nutrients. There are also a lot of sisters that will donate.
What about when a woman, like, say she had to have a C-section and she's taking medicine, she wants to nurse, but how can you know?
Very good point. There's a lot of women that donate their breast milk. That breast milk is tested. You can have it retested if you want to, but they donate their breast milk. The point is that we want that baby, if you don't nurse any other time for the first 2 weeks, I mean, you want that baby to have nothing but that milk.
There are alternatives as well. I don't know if y'all ever heard of Dr. Sadie.
Of course.
The truth.
What is it? The CMOS? The CMOS, they say, contains some of the similar characteristics of breast milk. So one of my friends, she wasn't able, well, she nursed, but her daughter was dealing with eczema. So she felt like it was from her diet. So everything she was eating, she felt like the baby was reacting to in her skin. So she had to stop nursing because of that, and she just made her alternative. She crushed up, I think it's like a handful of almonds. You make your own almond milk, you throw them in the sea moss, a little bit of
sea moss, that's what she said. I don't know what that is.
They call it the bromide powder, I think now. I think they changed the name, but yeah, you know, the properties of sea moss, they really compare to breast milk, but you know, that's the only natural. I mean, they said a lot of soy and stuff, formulas and stuff. I wouldn't do any of that. You know, and a lot of people, I don't know about just juicing and things, but I know that specifically that one breast milk alternative was one I heard of. And I'm still interested in trying whenever I stop nursing.
I'd be interested in that recipe.
Right. I haven't. I know it's the almonds, it's the sea moss, agave. And I think that's
We'll get the details and so other women, because I'm interested to hear about that, because I've never heard about an alternative besides
and it's
the
something that the
formula.
mother can make. It probably lasts for about a day or two. Something that you'll make fresh, and so it helps for those mothers that just don't want to do formula, but that still need something that's comparable to the breast milk. So I can definitely share that recipe.
We'll be looking for that.
Indeed.
Breastfeeding does get overwhelming at times, and it's very. I'm happy, you know, but she probably still would have been on. But like I said, when I found out I was pregnant, I went to a doctor at first just to get my appointment, just to figure out how far along I was. And he was like, are you still breastfeeding? And I was like, yeah. I was like, yes, I'm still breastfeeding. He was like, you need to stop immediately because you can have a miscarriage, your uterus will contract, and you can have a miscarriage, and yada, yada, yada. So I'm in the car crying, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. And, you know, I'm just freaking out. And my friend was like, stop stressing out. She's just going to have to get off your breast, this, and that. But she, you know, doesn't, you know much or whatever. So then I got her off at like 11 months. Because she only would feed at night during this point. So at night I was just like, you can't have mommy, you better get full before bed, you better drink some more milk, something. You can't, you know, you can't.
But you also said that you're at the birthing center.
That's what I was about to say, yeah. So then when I went to my midwife, when I had my first appointment, she was like, baby, still feeding. I mean, she said she's still on your breast. And I was like, nah, she got off at 11 months. She was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, the doctor told me I had to get her off immediately. And this isn't. Those doctors are so dumb. And she was just so upset. She was like, you could have still been breastfeeding. She said, naturally, the baby will wean themselves off because the milk will taste differently and this, and that. And
That's exactly what happened. I think what the doctor probably was trying to say, no matter what, when you're nursing, it takes from you. So you have to be careful about what you're giving to your body because that new baby needs that. You know, that's the main thing that I can see in some type of alignment.
But he didn't say that. He said because my uterus was going to contract and I was going to have a miscarriage.
I experienced something similar to that. My doctor said that essentially the unborn baby was going to be malnourished. But I was very adamant about continuing to nurse because my attitude was, women in other countries continue to nurse their baby. Right. So I switched doctors.
Yeah.
I stood up for myself. I switched doctors, found a great doctor, and he said, eat more.
Yeah, just
Bring in more calories. That's it. That's the solution.
Yeah.
Bring in more calories. If you're giving more calories,
you know, it just,
that's all it is. And so I was really frustrated about that at first. But then getting that information, and you're right, the baby ended up weaning himself.
Yeah.
Wow. It just happened.
Changes. Yeah, the breast milk changes.
Yeah.
I have a question. There's this, issue of how long you're supposed to breastfeed your babies. So how old? I know how old.
Yeah, you said 3, right?
When they're done, they'll let you know.
Yeah.
I let them control how long and how often. And I didn't have a schedule. I let them set their own schedule. And it worked for me because I'm self-employed now. When I was at one point working for a company, I did have to put some type of schedule together. But for the most part, your body actually starts to pick up on that flow. But I mean, 3 years.
For about so long.
It's not though.
I know people that are no longer that do
Really?
this actually.
Yeah, I mean,
It was
they
so much
naturally just like they don't want it. They just one day it's like, it becomes a pacifier. You'll know when you're now a pacifier.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes. And it's like, okay, yeah, you really don't need it anymore. And it's like even now, my little girl's 5. She still gets in the bed with me. She still puts up her shirt. And she still gets really comfortable. And she'll have one hand on one breast.
Yes.
Still at 5. I mean, like they have this connection, and I think that's like the beautiful bond of breastfeeding is that connection that you have with your baby. That that's never gonna leave. Like she's still obsessed with my stomach.
Yeah.
She still wants to get back on my stomach. Like, and it feels really good. I'm like, wow, okay, I did what I was supposed to do. I'm so happy. Yes, and we're still connected.
Your womb remembers that.
Yes.
It's like,
and for her, she sees, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do when I have a baby, when I get pregnant. She's like, I'm gonna do exactly what you did, Mommy. She thinks breast milk is the best thing in the world that ever exists. I've had many different.
I hear a lot of parents saying, women saying they like that didn't breastfeed or didn't, feel like their baby didn't latch on or whatever the reason they didn't breastfeed. They almost always hear them say that they don't feel like they got that bonding experience with their baby. Like,
and some are like, it's either that or they're very negative. Like, because I come across a lot of people. Oh, you still breastfeeding?
Yeah.
You didn't stop at 6 months, and this and that. Yeah. So people that are real negative, even towards like the natural childbirth, because like I did a natural water birth and stuff like that. Like even people that are negative towards that or negative towards me breastfeeding my baby, I try to like kind of stay away from them. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want those kind of like people around you, and because that affects you. Those spirits jump on. Each other, and and like right now, like right now it's all good energy right now. You know what I'm saying?
Once you get off the breast milk, then it's like, okay, you want me to get off the breast milk and then do what? Give her some cow's milk, some PIERRE, or some of these. It's just something. It's like it's just really weird, and that's like the best thing. So, as long as you know what you're doing is right, I think that's the main thing. Is just holding on to that.
Yeah. And that's why I said it depends on the mother. Don't let anybody pressure you. Like I said, with me, I was like, okay, yes, she's off. You know what I'm saying? But I still, like I said, she still put her hand right here, and her dad be like, babe, try to put her on there and see if she starts sucking up again. I said, no, because she just might, and then maybe you're going to have some problems.
I can't wait to the day, but at the same time, I have to humble myself, like, okay, this is what this time is right now. And it is really special, so I'm thankful for that.
Are you still breastfeeding?
Yes, it's intense. She would be right here, like, okay, mama.
And she don't care. Yep, that's how it works.
Is it harder when they're older?
I have scratches all over myself.
Because they do, it does
she
feel more like,
attacks me. She's like, this is mine.
And you have to teach them, okay, there's a time and a place, or, give me a signal, let me know when you, because they'll just lift their shoulder.
I've seen it. Like, come to me like, what? People around, what are you doing?
Some babies will even like, it's they'll lift somebody else's shirt up.
I was just about to say that.
Yes.
I've had babies.
It's like, ain't no milk in that girl.
And I'm like, wow. I'm amazing, but
I would let somebody else nurse my child. Somebody I trusted, I feel like that's okay,
I
And you really know.
If I were nursing, I would totally nurse my friend's baby.
Yeah,
I mean,
my sisters are so opposed to it.
Yeah.
They think I'm crazy. I'm like, if you have milk and I'm not there, feed her. Like, what else is it? They just, get all grossed
But a lot
out
of
and
people
stuff.
don't realize that that's how it used to be.
Exactly.
And not only that, something that a lot of people do not realize is during the time of slavery,
Yes.
you had these women nursing.
Mammies.
Yes.
That's
That's what they were doing. They were nursing these white children. So I mean, breast milk is milk at the end of the day. And so I try to explain it to people like this. You drink cow's milk.
I was just about to say.
You drink cow's milk from an entirely different creature.
Right.
But are freaked out by the notion
of a 2-year-old drinking breast milk
from another person, another human being. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Conditioning.
Propaganda. You don't know what kind of steroids.
Like they're not making no money off of that. The society's not making no money off our breast milk.
Of course.
You know, not on that level.
I even got told, like, when I tell people that I grew up in a Rastafarian household and we didn't drink cow's milk, they're like, you had such a sheltered childhood. I'm like, no, I didn't. I promise you, I'm good. Like, I didn't. I can't believe you grew up and you didn't drink milk and you didn't. I don't understand why that's so weird. I'm like, why is it weird that, because at the time, almond milk wasn't a thing, it was soy milk, right? So that's not even real milk. I'm like, you're drinking, I'd rather drink like bean liquid than, you know, to this day I don't drink cow's milk. Like, you know, I think it tastes weird because maybe it's because I didn't grow up drinking it. It tastes really spoiled to me. I think it has a horrible taste. But it's so funny to me how people, they almost mock people that choose another alternative. I'm like, why is almond liquid, you know, seems stranger to you than drinking from a cow. Like even adult cows don't drink cow milk. Like I'm like, we're only adults drinking somebody else's milk. That's weird.
I just have to envision people literally going underneath the cow and drinking.
That's what.
Like fuck this track record, you I'm holding that. You got all this wisdom that you holding back, cause he got the knowledge. He said you the river, now you dropping out of college, and you telling all your girls that he's popping, but you know your friends fucking with him, even if it's in her head heart. You don't give a fuck because you sleeping in his bed, start thinking that he feeling feelings deeper than will speak today. Anything you ever felt before, so you thinking that it's time to get a little bit more serious about your building nation.